So let's take a look at unwrapping our scene and our dumpster rather. So a couple things. We're going to be not only unwrapping, but we're going to be doing a little bit of cleanup. So let's go ahead and select this and then shift right click, and we're going to insert an edge loop right down the center there. Let's go to our front view and make sure that this edge is lined up there, something like this. And now that I have a pretty good idea of what everything is, I'm just going to delete that, go in here, and then go to face mode, delete those half of those faces, select this guy, half of those faces. So we're really just going to focus on unwrapping half of this guy and then get rid of that. So what we end up with is something that looks like this. Okay, so with half of our dumpster selected now, we're going to go to UV and go to our editor. And the way that I normally unwrap is I think about what is the biggest component of this object. So the biggest component is the body of the trash can. So I actually have the bottom just deleted, but what I'm going to do is hold shift and select both those edges, and I'm going to bridge that. So I'm right clicking here and going to bridge and holding shift, and I'm going to make sure that my divisions are at 0 and hit apply. The reason is, say in the scene that the dumpster gets knocked over or can be blown up by another character. So I'm going to go to face mode, double click it, and then I'm going to hold shift, right click, and I'm just going to map it on the Z axis. And that's the frontmost axis. That's like the facing this way. So that's what you're seeing here. And what I'm going to do is go to edge mode here, and I'm going to cut this. So I'm going to select that edge there. Let's go ahead and hit 4 so you can see that. And then I'm going to select this edge here. So I'm going to hold shift. And I'm going to right click. I'm still holding shift here. I'm going to right click in here and go to cut. And I'm going to right click and go to UV here. And then highlight all of those UVs. All right, let's go to object mode here. It seems like I've got the lid selected too. Let's go to UV here. And I'm going to shift right click and then go to unfold. Now, if you notice, if nothing happens like on mine, what happens is the transformation and everything needs to be frozen. So I'm going to right click, go to object mode. I'm going to select all of these different components. Go to edit, delete all by type history, modify, freeze transformation. Now when I select this guy, I can go to UV mode, select it again, hold shift and right click, and then go to unfold. And you'll see that it unfolds it. Now we want to figure out, is this the best usage of our object, right? Like the best shape or the best space. And the thing is, it really isn't. Now the only reason you ever keep an edge together on an unwrap is only if you're going to paint across the scene. Now nobody really cares about this, the bottom of the dumpster, like how good the details are. So we can actually make that pretty small in respect to our unwrap. So with just the body of our trash can selected, I'm going to go to edge mode, select this edge, and outside of here I'm going to hold shift, right click, and then I'm going to go to cut again. Now the cut shortcut is shift X. So I'm going to start talking every time I throw a cut now. I'm going to start saying shift X instead of that, okay? So holding shift, hit X, and I'm going to go to UV mode, highlight just the bottom two, and then hit shift right click. Sorry, let's do that again. Shift right click, and I'm going to go to, well, let's do control right click maybe, and to UV shell, and that's going to select all of it. It makes it easier whenever you have edges like that. All right. Now with this, the shape of the dumpster here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a considerable amount of space. So maybe something like this. And it's never completely, we never know completely how perfect we're going to make it. And down on the side here, you can see there's a line and snap. If you click in the corner here, it'll snap it to the corner for us. And we want to take up as much space. So this guy, I'm going to scale down the bottom considerably. Just bring it down here. And then align and snap that to the corner. I'll go a little bit larger here and keep clicking in align and snap until it's almost at the same section. All right, let's go ahead and I'm going to pause it and save it. All right, that's saved. Make sure to save often. All right. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I want to take a look, like I said, at elements that I know that are sort of repetitive. So for example, this guy here, I know that that edge, that face on the side here is eventually, let's go ahead and let's close this. This face needs to get covered by this. So I can go in here, grab these verts, make sure that this edge completely covers that face. And I'm going to go to object mode, select this guy, hide everything but that. Go to face mode, select these faces. I'm holding control here to deselect, so I only have those. And I'm going to delete them because I don't need them. Alright, so now what I have that's already unwrapped is I have this here, and then I'm going to unwrap this next. So I selected this guy, then I held shift and selected that. I'm going to open up my editor. And so now both of those are in my scene, and I'm going to hide everything but those. For this, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to double click this face, hold shift and right click, go down to mapping, map that on Z, go to my edge mode. So I'm going to right click edge here, select that, and then shift X to cut that. You'll see that it's been cut because it turns a little bit, the line is more accentuated. UV mode, same deal, shift right click, unfold, unfold again. And let's rotate this a little bit off to the side, and let's scale this down. And I don't necessarily care that much about this piece. Let's unhide everything so you can see that. Like I don't need to give it that much of the UV space. So let's kind of help ourselves out by straightening this out. So let's double click this. That's another way of selecting all the UVs. And then let's rotate this. And there is a straighten tool in here. I think it's under arrange and layout. And sorry, I just updated to this version. Straighten UVs, and that'll straighten it all out for you. And that's under unfold. So let's go back to UV mode. Select both of these guys. Double click this one UV. It's a sort of a shortcut for that shell that I showed you earlier. And I'm going to rotate this, actually kind of scale it, maybe something like that, down a little bit here. And like I said, some of this stuff is going to get moved around some more. I'm just trying to find the best possible place. Same thing with this guy up here. Face mode, double click this face. Let's hide everything but that. Now we don't need this bottom face here. I'm going to delete that for that edge. Shift right click, and I'm going to go to mapping, planar map on Z. Shift right click again. Well, let's go to UV mode here. Double click one of these UVs so they're all selected. Unfold that. Always show this warning. I don't know if that's necessary, but well, let's hit fix here for unmanifold geometry. So what you're noticing here is it's because it's not a straight on edge. What we can do to kind of fix that, it looks like I deleted that one face didn't make it. That's okay. We might even be able to just delete these. Well, I'll leave that one off because it's kind of hidden. But if you notice, we can, if we hit our straighten UV tool, it'll kind of fix that up. We'll go over here a little bit here, do the same thing, straighten UVs, and then we can use that. So let's go ahead and unfold again. Check out how these all look in our, because what we're trying to avoid is any weird stretching. Alright, so let's take a look at what we have already unfolded. So we've got this guy, we've got this guy, and we've got this. So it doesn't look too bad. And in order to straighten this out a little bit better, what I'm going to do is, let's turn this off. I'm going to go ahead and cut these two edges here, and this third edge here. And That'll allow us to unfold it a little bit more. You can see it straightened it out a little bit, and now when we hit straighten UVs, let's do straighten shell. And let's tweak it a little bit to kind of help it out. There we go. So that's gonna unwrap or texture nicely now that it's all completely straightened. And where you generally want to keep this stuff is in the order in which you see it. So for example, I'm eventually going to shift this up a little bit, and so that when I'm looking at my UVs, you can kind of see the whole process. So like, here's the body, here's the foot. This should be somewhere around here too. All right. Alright, so we're at like 10 minutes already. I'm going to go ahead and stop this video, and then I'm going to come back to it and we'll finish unwrapping it in the next one.